Hey everyone, and welcome. So, have you ever built a deep learning model that just refuses to learn? I mean, you check the architecture, you double check the data, but the training loss just flatlines. Well, the culprit might be hiding in the very first step, how you set your initial weights. Today, we're going to dig into why the starting point is, no joke, one of the most critical decisions you'll make.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about that frustrating moment when training just stalls out. Then we'll meet the two big villains that cause all the trouble. After that, we'll figure out what a good start actually looks like, introduce the heroes, the smart initialization methods, and finally, see the massive difference it all makes. Let's get into it.
Okay, first up, the training standstill. This is that gut-wrenching moment when you hit run on your training script and, well, nothing really happens. Look, it's a question we've all asked ourselves. You've spent all this time designing what you think is a perfect neural network, your data is squeaky clean, but the moment you start training, the loss either stays completely flat or just blows up into not a number. The model isn't learning a thing, it's just stuck in the mud. So what is going on here? Well, the answer really comes down to the network's weights and biases. You can think of these as millions of tiny dials that the model needs to tune just right. Weight initialization is all about setting the starting position for every single one of those dials. It's kind of like this. Imagine you're a hiker on a foggy mountain trying to find the lowest valley. Your initialization is your starting point on the map. If you start in the wrong place, you could be hopelessly lost from the get-go. So what happens when our starting point is really poor? Well, that's where we meet the villains of our story. These twin dangers that can totally derail your training process before it even gets a chance to start. So, our hiker can get stuck in one of two ways. With vanishing gradients, they're stranded on this huge, flat plateau where there's no clear slope to follow downhill. But with exploding gradients, they're on a super steep cliff edge where any tiny step sends them plummeting into chaos. Either way, you're not getting anywhere. Let's zoom in on that first villain, the vanishing gradient. So during training, your network sends an error signal backward, right? From the end all the way to the beginning. This signal, the gradient, is what tells each weight how to adjust. When gradients vanish, that signal gets weaker and weaker and weaker with every layer it passes through, until it's pretty much just static. And what's the result of that? The early layers of your network, the ones that are supposed to learn the most basic fundamental features, they basically go deaf. They just can't hear the error signal, so their little dials never get updated. Your model's accuracy totally stalls out, and training just grinds to a halt. You see this happen a lot with older activation functions like Sigmoid and Tanh. Now, the opposite problem is just as bad, maybe even more dramatic. With exploding gradients, that error signal going backward gets amplified at each layer. Instead of a tiny whisper, it becomes this deafening roar that just completely overwhelms the entire network. This just creates pure chaos. The updates to the weights are so massive that the model wildly overshoots any good solution. Your loss value will often just become NaN, not a number, because the math literally breaks down. Our hiker is taking such giant, crazy steps that they launch themselves right off the mountain. So clearly what we need is a start that's perfectly balanced. Okay, so if a bad start leads to signals that either vanish or explode, what does a good start actually look like? Well, the whole goal is to create a stable, predictable environment for information to flow through the network. You know, the core idea, which was really laid out by pioneers Glorot and Bengio, is to preserve the statistical properties of the signal as it moves from layer to layer. Basically, you want the variance, which you can think of as the amount of information or energy in the signal, to stay pretty much constant, not too big, not too small. Getting this right ensures that our hiker starts on a part of the mountain that has a nice, consistent downward slope. You know, not too flat and not too steep. This stable signal is what allows the model to take confident, steady steps, moving efficiently toward the lowest point in that loss landscape, which is, of course, the whole point. So how in the world do we actually do this? Well, that's where our heroes come in, these clever initialization strategies that were designed to give our hiker the absolute best starting position on the map. The two big heroes you'll hear about most are Xavier and He initialization. Xavier, sometimes called Glorot, works fantastic for symmetric activation functions like Sigmoid and Tanh. But then the ReLU activation function came along and became super popular. And because ReLU isn't symmetric, it just chops off all the negative values, we needed a new hero. And that is He initialization. It's built specifically for ReLU, and it accounts for the fact that half the information is getting zeroed out. This keeps the signal from slowly dying as it moves through the network.
Okay, so what does all this theory actually look like in the real world? Let's check out the impact of choosing a smart starting point versus, well, a not-so-smart one.
A poor initialization, like setting all your weights to 0 or just pulling from a simple random distribution, it leads you straight into one of those failure states we talked about. The learning process either stalls completely because the gradients vanish, or the whole network just becomes this chaotic, unstable mess because they explode. Either way, our hiker is completely and utterly lost. But, and this is the amazing part, when you use the right tool for the job, like He initialization for a network that uses ReLU, the whole picture changes. You get this stable signal flow, which allows the model to converge quickly and reliably. Our hiker isn't lost anymore. They're confidently striding down the mountain toward a great solution.
And let's be super clear, this is not just some minor tweak. Proper weight initialization is a fundamental technique. It can easily double your training speed, sometimes even more, and it directly leads to a more accurate model in the end. It's often the one thing that separates a model that works from one that fails completely.
So, picking the right starting point really sets your model up for success right from the beginning. It just goes to show you that in deep learning, these foundational details matter a lot. Which kind of leaves us with one final question. If something as simple as initialization can have such a massive impact, what other seemingly small choices, like your learning rate or your activation function, could be secretly holding your model back or are just waiting to supercharge it?